Thank you very much. Brilliant. I'm going to say, so I've been commissioned to write a new poem, and I'll do that third or fourth once I've warmed up, and we're all sort of here together in a way that I don't feel I'm quite arriving yet. Looking over, I've had a really magical afternoon. Standout actually, Potent Whisper, you're the first I saw when I came in. Absolutely brilliant. And I really thank you. I went to the Yurts and I heard Abdul speaking, and that was really a rich experience. And thank you. And it's been quite a special day. I'm going to start with a simple love poem, and it's a love poem welcoming another human being to the world. It was inspired by my own sons when they were babies. It's called "What Are You?" And it's funny talking rhetorically to a baby. They're not going to answer you back, and you say, "What are you?" The correct way to speak to a baby isn't to go, "What are you?" It's to go, "What are you?" And you shake your face. As if you can get jowly. That's what you do. That's the correct way to do it. I'm sorry to be dogmatic. That's how you do it. So this is "What are you?" You are a dream debutante, gene databank, love bucket, pocket primate, utterly crackpot, smack not, lottery jackpot. What are you? You're a wide-eyed windfall, a button-pushing pinball. Life-altering, all-terrain boogie-buggy passenger. You're a huggy cuddle craver. You're a snuggly cradle raver. You're a bit of a groover, a duvet remover. Embedded bed jewels, schedule rearranger, stranger softener, smile widener, shoulder broadener, extraordinaire. You're a suckler for nourishment, a chuckler, a cackler. You're a tackle tinkerer, you're a rugby tackler, quick thinker, deep stinker, aromatherapist. You're a home improvement, a luminous ruminant, a whole new artistic movement. Not always the gentlest experimentalist. Nipple twister, blister, burster. Cup breaker, beaker, leaker, laughter, lover, sensation seeker. You are a much sought after dinner gobbledygook speaker. Aren't you? You're a VIP doing VI poo. You're an up-chucker, flannel sucker, mucker, upper body workout kit, shit manufacturer, bachelor, botherer, authority, ignorer, brain rewirer, furniture, restorer, requirer. You're crap happy when you're out and about. You're the opposite of fossil, you're a bustle sprout. Yes, you are. You're a dream debutante, gene databank, love bucket, pocket primate, utterly crackpot, smack not, lottery jackpot. What are you? The end. Thank you. Now I brought a few books with me because I don't have everything as off by heart as I would like it. Plus I keep changing things. So I actually wrote a new verse today for a poem. Yep, it's great. Do you know, when you're a kid, the world, on the one hand it's your oyster, on the other hand you don't know what the possibilities are, and on the other hand we kind of here at Sidcot you don't constrain the children, but when I was a kid the options were kind of limited, and they were limited by the career rhyme that I was taught. You probably know it too. It simply goes, tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor. Yeah? Tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Do we know this? So that was something. Do you know how it goes after that? Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Anyone here? Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. That's how? No? No? That's why you don't have better jobs. Okay? Your expectations were limited when you were little, and that's terrible, isn't it? There are some regions, mostly, if there's an audience of maybe 100 plus, there'll be someone who goes, rich man, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief is quite an important part of the rhyme. Okay, obviously suppressed in order to control the masses. Doctor, lawyer, open to the possibility of the professions. Okay, Indian chief suggests a management role. Or leader. Possibly, if you're from Totnes, like me, a shamanic path. Okay? Got my antennae out to see who's picking up about. So anyway, I've updated it for the 21st century. In fact, I've updated it for today as well. I don't know if I'll be able to slip this in. Okay. I want you all to learn this, by the way. This is important to your future. Okay, let's not do that. Tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor, affluent, bankerman, brief, drinker, abstainer, personal trainer, rich man, pure man, beauty, beast, actor, voyeur, pagan, priest, starlet, stylist, pilot, harlot, bright spark, damp squib, top dog, dipstick, washer-up, usherette, husher-up, shrink, chiropractor, astronaut, pimp. All girl, cold codder, wide boy, curb crawler, high flyer, fall guy, pork house, small fry, bricklayer, soothsayer, darts player, social worker, statistician, dietitian, fat controller, somebody, nobody, somebody, pen pusher, wage slave, cannon fodder, dog's body, magistrate, agitator, high street prestidigitator, conjurer, registrar, hedge fund manager, farmer, palmist, media whore, Elvis impersonator, Ofsted inspector, Elvis impersonator, Ofsted inspector, off-white band man, funeral director, busker, wrestler, condom tester, dowser, rustler, behaviourist, geek, anabolic sports star, bar star, fraudster, jogger, jihadist, digital artist, renegade, referee, refugee. How does it go then? Hang on. Hold that point. Chicken plucker, puffer upper, pillar for bloodsucker. Chicken plucker, puffer upper, pillar for bloodsucker. Compare, umpire, au pair, vampire. Shadow spokesman. Identity thief, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. I don't know. Thank you. I've done it a lot of times and I still can't quite remember the whole thing. I agree. I said, of course, I'd love to write a Quaker poem. I'd love to do that. It's a wonderful commission. Thinking, I've always been sympathetic. You know, I know a little bit about the Quaker movement. I know enough. I thought, some of my best friends are Quakers. I thought, and that's true actually. My long-time producer of Radio 4, Mark Quaker, we had long talks. I feel, my heart's in the right place. My head's in a good place. I can do this. I couldn't do it. I really struggled. I did extra research and I read and I talked to people, and what I ended up, I was trying to write a sort of educational, I would teach you about Quakerism poem for people who already knew that so much more than me. And in the end, I had to really drop it all and just do something very, very personal. And something that a phrase I kept coming across that just always spoke to me and moved me was the simple phrase, something of God in everyone. And so that has become my refrain. And I don't apologise for writing quite a simple poem. It's just my personal response. It's called Something of God. If you want to join in with the refrain, you'll have no idea where it comes. How are you going to do that? It's really difficult. So although it's an option, it's technically almost impossible. So I wouldn't try. Something of God. A movement from the inside out. Time to sit and room to doubt. They sit so quietly, so still, in silence that they do not fill with words spoken for speaking's sake. No need for oaths whose words don't break. No creed to which one must subscribe. No vengeful God from whom to hide. But out of silence, something grows. A yes from all the many no's. A trust we all know right from wrong. Something of God in everyone. Well, act as consciences dictate. Pacifists who punch above their weight. This is the flock that won't be fleeced, where everyone's a kind of priest, born of protest in simplicity, no hierarchy, no liturgy, intoned by an automaton, something of God in everyone. A voice that's none of the above. Some call it God, some call it love, call it what the hell you will, it comes sometimes and sitting still. The human words that silence breeds, whose seeds take root, bear fruit in deeds, and no conclusion is foregone. Something of God in everyone. And something in us all still glows, an inward light embracing those who are not virtue's paragon. Something of God in everyone. The them in us, the us in them. No soul, however dark's condemned, a light, however dimmed, shines on. Something of God in everyone. was moved, and thank you very much for allowing me and inviting me to do that. I went through, you all know steps. Something like spirituality, truth, equality, peace, sustainability. Is that it? I was trying to structure my poem around steps, the values of the Quaker movement. I was thinking, what am I doing? I'm trying to do this by numbers. Anyway, I did think sustainability. I can do sustainability because I actually had a job. I had a residency for a renewable energy company, and I wrote loads and loads of sustainable poems on the theme of renewable energy. There was a whole book that came out called "The Elements in the Room," which is quite worth pausing and enjoying. The element in the room. And I thought I was doing these poems for Region South West, and I wrote an incredibly long poem about the elements, wanted to come into your home and animate your appliances and how beautiful it was, and I called it The Element in the Room, and I wrote it in the style of Dr. Seuss, and I went into the region offices and I read it to them, and they went, Matt, that's really long. And I said, well, I could do even longer if you. No. Could you be more pithy? So I got pithy, and I wrote a poem just focusing on one photon being pulled to Earth, coming into the grid, and I called it A Radiant Romance. Yes. To fly so far, so fast, and land so gently upon a panel on planet Earth, 8 1/3 minutes old, and worth its weightlessness in gold, fallen, faded, cooled, then to be told, oi, photon, get your coat on, you've been pulled. That was it. Because they really liked that, and they said, we like it when you're short, could you be even shorter? And I got shorter. I did a wind turbine poem called The Skywayman. It just went, Dick Turbine, stand and deliver. Matt, you really got it now. So I was just really trying hard to get. What happens when you try to condense all your creativity into these short spaces? What happens is that the titles get really long because the energy has to go somewhere. That's just physics. That's just basic physics. So this next poem, which is inspired by the flooding that actually happened in Somerset not so long ago, and it's called A Partially Submerged Person in Somerset Makes an Implicit Link Between Extreme Weather Conditions and Climate Change, whilst hoping the latter may be mitigated by investment in renewable technologies. And the poem goes, I want to go renewable, so my streets are less canoeable. So that's my sustainable work. I'd like to read you a poem that not so recently written. I actually wrote it a year or so ago, but it was inspired. It was a request for me to write about values like excellence and friendship, and there was one I had to write about respect and equality, and I wrote it in the form of a letter called "Respectfully Yours," and it was to be set by. I've hardly ever read this in public. It just felt appropriate. It's not going to make me laugh, but it'll make you look at me and go, I hope. Dear Sir, dear Madam, to whom it may concern, we write respectfully to reaffirm our long-standing claim to be seen of the flame. There's not a woman or a man we're better than or lesser than or better than. We hope not to offend or go on too long. We sing partly to hear our own voice raised in song, and to claim we are of the same flame. Who are we? We are those to whom the world has been disposed from time to time, from place to place, to show a disrespectful face. And we are those who went before, who knocked politely on the door and less politely on the wall, who called but no one heard their call or their claim to be of the same flame. Those who've been hushed, who've been brushed to one side, who've been disregarded, derided, denied. Those who've been called names. We all know the names. We've seen civilised people behave in uncivilised ways. Those who first made the claim to be touched by the torch, to be scorched by the flame, and who'll come back again and again to maintain we are of the same flame. We respectfully ask that you answer our call for the dreams that we dream. They're not shallow or small. And if you don't see the spark in us, but only see the dark in us, there's one course we may yet pursue, to always see the spark in you. And though it may be slow in you and not something you know in you, we will still see that glow in you, that sparks in every part of us, that's at the core and heart of us, for all of us, our Spartacus, and we can all claim to be of the same flame. This flame is for everyone, no one's exempt. We are now held in esteem who were held in contempt. As we relish and cherish the worldly rewards, we accept the acclaim, we adore the applause. Forgive us for keeping an eye on the door. We've won a few scraps, but we've not won the war. Battles fought we do not regret, we seek to forgive, we'd be fools to forget, and we stand by our claim to be of the same flame. Thank you for your time and for hearing our claim and for opening doors, and of course we remain respectfully yours. There we go. I've got some more questionable material. You know, I get some really interesting commissions. I get beautiful commissions. That is a wonderful commission. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to take a bit of a chance here. I'm going to share with you one of the most recent commissions I've had, and I don't want you to judge me. Okay, it feels unlikely that I'm not, these circumstances. I'm not, but I was commissioned to write recruitment poetry for a bank. Okay, you're working really hard and not judging me. I can see you. And you're doing well, because I know about Lloyd's, founded by, I know, I've looked into the history, but it's a different, this is the London Sperm Bank, okay, that I'm talking about. They actually commissioned me, seriously. They were doing this campaign, they are doing this campaign, there aren't enough donors. I don't know if you read it, the actual British Sperm Bank had 9 donors last year, was it? 9! Men! What? So, they thought, when people are really desperate, they turn to the poets. That's how the world works. And so they wanted to do a campaign on the London Underground, putting up landscape-style posters, maybe 4, maybe 6 lines. And they said to me, "This has got to be, Matt. This has got to be kind of, tasteful. Families, people of all ages. So it's okay to go for a little bit of humour, reach for beauty, but obviously, if you're going to do humour, don't cross the line." And I said, "Well, where's the line then?" I don't want to cross the line. That'd be the last thing I wanted to do, on the London Underground. I don't want to do that. Families, that's not. I didn't go into poetry, to cross some lines, but not that line. And so they said, "Well, look, we'll send you a previous campaign." So they sent me a previous campaign poster. It had London Sperm Bank, a series of handprints, and then lend a hand. For them, that's where the line was. And I thought, I'm not even going to go close to that. I'm going to be the right side. I'm going to be the right side of that line. And I'm just going to explore this. I'm going to try it now. I'm going to go for a little bit of humour. I'm going to reach for beauty. Do you know what? I've sent them 4 ideas, 4 poems. They have yet to get back to me. So we're in a unique in-between position where you can be. Actually, now I do want you to judge me, because I want you to appraise what you think. I'm not going to have time for major feedback, but it's been interesting. Okay, number 1. It wouldn't hurt you to make a virtue of a commonplace act. Turn what you would be doing anyway into your good deed for the day. Because sometimes a little can go a long way. Touches on beauty, doesn't shy away from truth. So keep. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was looking for, actually. I appreciate that, because no one else has given me that kind of feedback, so phew. This is the second idea, when you're on the donor list, you're not just any onanist. You're one of the few who, though they've no notion what difference their offering makes, though sometimes a drop in the ocean is all that it takes. I've achieved beauty, though. As far as I'm concerned, I've achieved beauty, okay? Number 3. We're different from the other banks. We've fewer bankers in our ranks. Trust me, have some trust. No bank charges, no interest rates, but for your largesse, when you donate, we extend our heartfelt thanks. It was always going to be okay. I won't do the last one then. It's all right, it's perfectly safe. From all backgrounds and blood groups, all tendencies, textures and trades, for all incomes and outlooks, all shoe sizes, star signs and shades. If you've got what it takes, then we'll take what you've got. Step over here, pop it into a pot, we'll be back in 2 shakes and we'll thank you a lot. By the way, that poem, Something of God, when you sort of say it's okay, that's fine. I showed it to my friend Thomas, who's a composer, is going to set it. I'm going to send you the hymn version. Something of God in everyone. I don't know how it's going to go. It'll be better than that. But I like to think it's going to be a song. And if Sidcot School don't actually sing it, I'm going to be so disappointed. It's going to be difficult. This is my final poem, and this one tries to identity, peace, the welcome that we give to people coming into the world, coming into our country, crossing lines. This poem, written in the first person, attempting to be universal, looking at what we are, who we are, and that's all I can say about it really. It's called The Whole in the Sum of My Parts. In all seriousness, I did this at the Edinburgh Festival. I introduced it as a celebration of the essentially fragmented nature of the human psyche. And people looked at me like you were looking at me with compassion and uncertainty. After I'd done it, it was an American lady, and I was selling books in a little kiosk afterwards, and an American lady came up to me and said, "So tell me, what kind of therapy did you do?" Which I thought was taking a lot for granted about our relationship and my background and the whole thing. And I'd just come off stage at the Edinburgh Festival. I had adrenaline coursing through my system. I was thinking quickly on my feet, and I went like that. So. By the way, Alistair is selling books over here. Just so you know, I've got a few. Just saying. If any money that we make, I've got my kids are here. Any money, they need a lot of care. Any money that we make will go towards Sauvignon Blanc to help me cope. Part of me is punctual. It turns up right on time. Part of me is functional, though slightly past its prime. Part of me is criminal, it's quite against the law, and part of me is subliminal and kind of either or. Part of me is lowly. It lows just like a cow. Part of me is holy, at least holier than thou. Part of me is actually more solid than it seems, and part of me is factual, but most of me is dreams. Part of me is truculent, don't look that way at me. Part of me is succulent, suck it and you'll see. Part of me part of me is detestable, or so people have said, and part of me is suggestible, or so people have said. Part of me is competitive, it only wants to win, and part of me is repetitive, or so people have said. Part of me is interminable, it goes on and on and on, and on and on and on and on, and on and on and on. This part of me is prolific, it writes reams and reams and reams, and part of me is terrific, but most of me is dreams. Parts of me are distant, and yet can seem so near. Parts of me are whispers, which the other parts can't hear. Parts of me are broken and tremble to the touch, and these parts can be spoken, but I don't speak them much. Part of me is pensive, I think, but I don't know. And part of me is defensive, so. Part of me is celestial, it gleams and beams and gleams, and part of me is bestial. But most of me is dreams. Part of me is tiny, but not the part you think. And part of me is shiny in a pleasing shade of pink. Part of me is laudable, it's for a worthy cause, and part of me is inaudible. Part of me is hairy, to be honest, not a lot. and part of me is contrary. No, it's not. Part of me is cooperative, it plays so well in teams, and part of me is inoperative, but most of me is dreams. Parts of me are latent, lurking dormant underneath. Parts of me are blatant, for some reason, they're called Keith. Parts of me have stamina, because I do qigong, and part of me is my anima, according to the psychology of Carl Gustav Jung. Part of me is piddling, yet full of cosmic yearning. Part of me is fiddling, while the rest of me is burning. Part of me is fluent, it flows as sure as streams, while part of me plays truant. But most of me, as I've tried to emphasise here, is dreams. Thank you very much for having me.